Welcome back to hot, sunny Las Vegas.
Believing in yourself is the first step to achieving greatness. It's about trusting your instincts, embracing your unique journey, and knowing that you have the power to create your own destiny. Doubts will come and challenges will arise, but with self-belief, you can conquer anything. Remember, the only limits are the ones you set for yourself. Believe in your dreams, believe in your strength, and believe that you are capable of extraordinary things.
Okay, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Mr. Just Fine, out here in sunny Las Vegas, out here in front of the Wynn Casino. It's about 112 degrees. I want to come to you with this video. A good friend of mine, I watch him all the time. It's going to drop a little game on Monopoly. Check it out.
I wanted to chop up some game about the game of Monopoly. When you go to the dictionary online, it says, the exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. The exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. They give an example in a sentence. His likely motive was to protect his regional monopoly on furs. The second definition deals with trademark, a board game in which players engage in simulated financial dealings using imitation money. That's why the game of Monopoly is actually real, because the money that you spend, right, is not actually money because it's not backed by gold. You know them silly gold coins you always see me showing? It's not backed by a commodity. So it's fake money. It's imitation money. The U.S. used to spend a currency called the Continental back in the day. And you can still buy the Continental. Like on eBay and shit. They still got that money. The Continental. That's what we used to spend before we had dollars. It used to be backed by gold, then they took it off the gold standard, just like they did the US dollar. And it eventually went to zero. That's why you got all these people warning you about banks and keeping your money in a bank and how retarded that is, because it's imitation money. But the modern game of Monopoly is done with imitation money. It's not money anymore. It's called debt. And that's what Robert Kiyosaki was trying to teach us, that the rules of money changed when they took us off the gold standard in 71, Nixon. It became debt. So now the way to get into the game is to understand what money really is. In this economy, it's actually debt. The thing everybody tells you to stay away from. Okay? Continuing with the second definition. It was invented in the U.S. and introduced in 1933 by Charles Darrow, a forerunner of the game. Had been patented on the 5th of January, 1904. Now check this out. As the Landlord's Game by Elizabeth J. Magee, or Maggie. The original name of the game Monopoly was called the Landlord's Game. It wasn't called the American Dream. The American Dream, on a social level, social economic, the lower socioeconomic stratosphere, is the dream of how a slave or sharecropper wants to end his life of slaving and or sharecropping. The white picket fence, the wife, the 2 point whatever kids, the dog, whatever, the picket fence. But the original name of the game of Monopoly was called the Landlord's Game. Which in a sense says a lot, because the game of life, or Monopoly, is not taught in school. In school, you're taught to get a degree so that you can work for an owner in some capacity. So that you can have a piece of certain, a piece of a pie. You're on vacation. I remember I heard Donald Trump say, he said, we go on vacation a lot of times to places that I own, a resort that I own. I own the motherfucker. That's where we go to vacation. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the landlord's game. It's a different mindset. And that mindset is not taught in the school system. The landlord's game. Imagine if most of us were cultivated to have that mindset. The landlord's game. To think like an owner. Understanding the game of life in a democracy, right? Understanding the reality of what we call money and how to move in it is to think like a landlord in some capacity, an owner in some capacity. Grant Cardone said, I will never buy a one-door real estate deal again. He said, I'll never do it. He said, even where his family lives, where they live is actually a rental. Because if you gotta pick up and move or take care of BI, it's a rental. You can do that more readily than if you're bogged down by a mortgage and that's where your family rests. He said, I'd rather rent. Now, Grant Cardone wasn't the first, landlord or, owner-thinking businessman to say that. We first learned that a home is not an asset from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And a lot of people were upset with him when he said that. But the landlord's game. And a lot of people really need to 10x their philosophy. Where they just feel like, okay, well, if I just get this or I get that or I got this amount of money coming in, I'm set. If you being set is based upon a promise of somebody else to pay you, right, then you only set if they pay you. And if you got a deal with the company you work for or the government or whatever to lace you in your golden years, that's not thinking like an owner. Because your ability to, relax, somebody else doing what they promised. Robert Kiyosaki talked about a guest that he had talked about how in a certain bank, certain people had like, I think $1 billion or some odd dollars in an account. When the FDIC only covers you for, I think, what, 250,000? And they got billions in the account. And it was just like, how stupid. As insolvent as our banking system is, and as fake as our monopoly or imitation money, that's what they call it. You're buying properties with imitation money. And a lot of people are planning their future based upon agreements, counting on somebody else to do something for them. When the truth is, they came up with the 401k to get out of the agreement of paying you your pension and shit like that in your later years. So they got out of it and they sold people. 401k, 401k, 401k. They marketed it and sold you and moved you out of the original agreement. The white man speaks with a forked tongue. Democracy. You better understand the monopoly, the game that you're playing, and start thinking like a landlord and not an employee. Democracy is 2 words put together in the Greek. Demos, dema, and kratis, krasi in English. D-E-M-O-C-R-A-C-Y is 2 words in the Greek put together. There was no C in the Greek. There was the strong K. Kratis, K-R-A-T-I-S, means the rule of. But democracy, doesn't mean the rule of the people. Demo has an S on the end in the Greek, and it means demon rule. So counting on somebody else to do right by you is retarded when push comes to shove. They're gonna save themselves. They're gonna save themselves. They're gonna move shit around. They're gonna create new laws, whatever they have to do. So if you really want to win, you got to think like them. You got to plan your life like them. Grant Cardone says, don't buy luxury items with money that you make on the job. Dig a little deeper. Open up your what?